kakhulu.
Abanqatshelwe bail bazoze bavela ngomhla 13 April. Ababuzwanga lutho, and the police are planning to get more people from the community.
What happened today?
They were not asked whether they admit the case or not. They just said they're postponing the case to the 30th of April, and they were denied a bail because they are taken as the most dangerous criminals in the area. And the sergeant is planning to take more members of the community. They say there are still a lot of people who are still at large. So more people to be arrested, so that they're not going to get bail until they catch all those.
It's not inside.
Lungi, last week you went to the police station, Sandton police station.
Yeah, last week ngisahamba saya police station siyobonela baba boshiwe okuhlungu kakhulu kwawasho nomama wengane sabathatha abantwana sabayise police station safika sabuya naye umama wengane abanye basale police station baboshwe.
The lady from the crash, what's her name?
Delisile Kwala.
She's not here.
She's there.
Oh, she's here. She's there. How many children she's got?
6 children.
And then you took the children to the police station?
Yes.
And then what the police said?
Abasho ngolutho baphoyisa amdedele sahamba sikwathiwa yena asabe sokhuluma nekhansela sathi ngesize sikwazi ukukhuluma nekhansela sasibese abasambe sokhuluma nomphathi station umphathi station sakhuluma naye wase wamdedela kumama wengane sabuya naye kodwa abanqaba ukudedela lababanye.
We took the children to the police station on the 21st of March, Human Rights Day. But to the community of Kennedy Road, it was nothing like a Human Rights Day. It was just a Human Rights Violation Day. Because 10 members of the community were arrested, including one lady, Delisile Kwala. She was arrested together with her husband, leaving the child Abani alone. Four young children were there. The smallest one is 1 year old and she's breastfeeding her. She was left with nothing to eat, with no one to look after her. So we took them all to the police station on the 21st of March, and we were told that we couldn't, because the sergeant was already left, so they couldn't release her that day. So they told us to come the following day. We had to go back with the sickly Nomali, the youngest child, to the Kennedy Informal Section.
What's her name?
Nomali, the smallest child. We have to take her back, and she was sick that day. We have to take her back to the community and Lungi took her to her house to feed her. But that day she slept without getting breastfed because her mom was arrested with her breast.
Is it not possible to stand at
They were only released, her mother was only released the following day on the 22nd. And the rest of the detainees were kept inside the cell until now. And today they are refused to get bail. They said the police are still planning to catch more members of the community. So only on the 13th of April they can talk about bail. So for now, it's bad. They are locked inside. We are not even allowed to talk to them. It's very sad. And sometimes when you go there to Signal police station, they harass us. They don't allow us to talk to them. Sometimes. They don't even allow us to give them something to eat. If we find someone who's not that harsh, they allow us to speak to them maybe like 3 minutes, and they said your time is up, to have to leave now.
It's bad news today.
Izwe zebhlungu siyakhala siboshwe lamahhala asasibosholeni asisakhulekile yonke into esiyenzayo manje siyenza ngokungakhululeki kunomuntu omele ukusikhomba nje ngaphakathi lana ukuthi sinesandla ngokufa lo muntu asikazi sibula le muntu uthini phela nje sisebenza ngokwekomiti okusemthethweni asinacala asinalutho baboshiwe kwaboshwa osthe kwaboshwa omdo baningi nje baboshiwe.
Last time when we came here to the court, the police he calls the people under. He was telling this 4 is calling now they're very dangerous. He needed a very safe police. I don't know why they're so
extra
dangerous.
Police.
Yes, he's saying they're very dangerous people when he was calling them.
Hey, that's unfair. They're supposed to be innocent.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I'm
these are
innocent.
respected members of the community. They are not criminals. That's why we are here to support them. We wouldn't support
What is
criminals.
KRDC?
Kennedy Road Development Committee.
And these people are, and Tembiso and Mju?
Yes, they are members of the Kennedy Road Development Committee. So, as far as I'm concerned, I think this case is not about a dead boy. It's just a political issue. There's something else behind this. It's not the case. The dead boy is not the case.
So they're after the leaders of KRDC.
Yes, that's what I think.
Why? What is the KRDC leaders doing?
They're doing everything in their power to fight for our rights, to fight for our poor, for us to get what is good for ourselves. That's why they're being detained. I don't know why they have to be arrested, because they are not criminals. They were not even there by that day. They were at the party. There was a party that was conducted by KRDC. They were not even at Kennedy Community Hall on that day. So it's amazed me when I see them. Yeah.
But who will be giving this kind of information?
I don't know. I really don't.
But what will the community think now that if the leaders are arrested? What will the community think about the leaders being arrested? Will they now want to stand in the KRDC, or will they have fear of coming to the office, of being associated with the leadership of KRDC?
Some of the people are afraid, but some of the people are supporting the KRDC. Most of the people
They are supporting.
Yeah.
Why would they support now? What will happen if for example, if the Safety and Security Committee, if we close that committee down?
No matter what happens, we will always be 100% behind them. We support them. They are our leaders. They do the best they can.
But the Safety and Security Committee is responsible for safety in the community.
Yes.
If you close that committee down, then what will happen to the community?
The community will live a miserable life.
What will happen? Will they be stealing? Or now is there stealing, or will they be stealing if there's no committee?
There'll be stealing, killing, robberies, and stuff like that. Because rape. We'll have no one to report those cases to. Because even
But
if
there's
we
a
go to
sitting police station.
they don't do anything for us. When you go there, they just say they are afraid to enter at the Kennedy community. They are afraid to enter at the shacks.
But
They fear for their lives.
so the Safety and Security Committee is doing a good job.
Very good job, I must say.
And everybody wants this committee to...
Yes.
Okay. So these guys inside are not criminals. Are they the real heroes?
No, they are not criminals.
Amaphoyisa afike endlini athi asambeni siboshiwe, abuza ukuthi wena Magwala, ngathi mina Magwala, athi asambeni kusoboshiwe. Masifike eSignum, okokuqala nje abuza ukuthi yena ngesonto ibrayi ayenziwe lapha esasikhona imali yakade iphumele, sasithathe phi imali ayenza ibrayi, sikwenziwa ibrayi ngemali yomphakathi. Ngiphekela igebengu zaseKennedy, ngathi angikwazi lokho, bathi angikhuluma iqiniso, kwenzakalani, ngabatshena ngathi akukho okunye okwenzeka ngesonto. Bathi ngesonto sashaya umuntu sambulala, ngathi hayi angikwazi, sasingekho, sasiseBrain la sasikhona, nomuntu loyo angimbona. Base ngenkathi bengikhipha endlini base beyangibulala, bathi angiphume esambeni, ngashiya ingane ekhaya, ngane ngayishiya phandle zizodwa ekhaya, bathi bosale kubona umakhelwane sengihamba.
Next day, took me away from my children and I left my children crying. Then they took me to the police station. They said my neighbors will look after the children.
Xosha bangavuma ukuthi ngiyibone. Okwesibili ngase
The first time, Lungi and Zama came with my children and they refused to let them in so that I can see them. The second time, then I saw my children.
The children, they talk about this thing at home,
Yeah.
that it was upsetting. Like how did the children feel about this, seeing their mother at the police station?
Police station.
sagijima sasagijima.
They were very happy, but they were crying. They wanted their father, because their father was also there.
Anything else? Oh, can you tell us about the children? How many children? What's the names? What's the age? What's the names and what is the age?
eyokuqala neminyaka ewu-16 first born is 16 years afunde emafamu kodwa iy'ngane engangenazo lezi eziwu-4 ey'ncane uMhlonipheni noMhlenge noNotembiso noNomali uMhlonipheni neminyaka ewu-6 lo munye uneminyaka emithathu lo munye uneminyaka emibili lo munye uno-15 months.
So she's breastfeeding the small baby?
Yes. They have to pay for what they did to Magwala because the last one is the breastfeeding. This was child abuse, to grab the mother of the children in front of the children. That was being abusive to the children, so they must pay for what they did because we were all in the Blue Lagoon party. Magwala is not even involved. Even those who are taken to Westville now, they're not even involved. We are all together in the Blue Lagoon party.
Anybody?
We have our church leader as well. For them not being in the front here, I heard that they are quite comfortable for being in the back because they can take pictures properly. So they have a good view from the back, and therefore you don't see them. They're sitting in the front. But bashuta impela bayithatha kamnandi ithobe bengemuva namanye-ke ama-comrades, for those comrades I never mentioned, I also thank you and apology for not mentioning your name because there's quite more people that are present here today.
So we gave the NAECA and especially the notification. So they all get it. But what happened suddenly, they told the president of Abata, Mrs. Buzilote, say that our march is illegal. So, as you know, we are used to these circumstances. Like in November 27 last year, they said it's illegal and then take them to the High Court and we embarrassed them. And that was the first victory for the poor people to win against the mighty giants. Under the name Mr. Cycling, we won. We got a court order against him.
It has been a small meeting between Zigote and the police official around the issue of the permit has not been granted. So we trying to negotiate around the issue that who is at fault and then what is the way forward. So it has appeared to us that actually the regulation of Gatherings Act, our authorities still misunderstand these regulations because according to the law, we are notifying the authorities that there will be a gathering. It is not an application, but it is a notification. Now they deny the fact. Now they expect us to collect a permission from Sidecliff, who is the city manager. So we have to decide now after applying our energy, wasting resources around the logistics and stuff. Now it has all come to nothing.
We need to take them to High Court.
We need to decide now.
High doesn't know the High Court. We're going to take it there now.
Or we do an alternative strategy. Now we are expecting press to come at any time now and inform us that what has been the resolution around this issue.
The situation is just terrible at Westville Prison. The comrades cannot stand for at least 5 minutes. They are powerless, they've lost so much of power. they have lost so much of weight. So the situation is unbearable. That is why today we are here in support of what they are doing. The comrades have been convinced by a number of people, including the nurses of the prison, the diplomats, and the social workers who say they must eat. The comrades have decided to suffer till they die, if that's how they are going to die, to pave the way for this learned house on which we are fighting today. But comrades, let us not be feared. It's our life, it's our future, whether NAECA likes it or not. And we cannot allow people to threaten and silence us. That must be clear. So the consensus that we have reached now is that uNAECA uzolala etholile memorandum ethanda noma engathanda. Much school lapha emaphoyiseni, I mean, Philani had to tell them to go there and study again, especially in Gatherings Act. So they seem to not to know anything about the Gatherings Act. We have done what was expected out of us. We have followed every channels that we were supposed to be following. So the police themselves do not understand the act itself. Maybe Abahlali will have to host a workshop and invite Amapoisa to the workshop where I'm sure Philani will facilitate that workshop, where Amapoisa are being trained around the Gatherings Act, what is required, what the act means. But comrades, because our focus is land and housing. Let us not allow people to divert our agenda. We are not supposed to be marching to a police station. We are supposed to be marching to Umabuya Kulu, Sifuna Umhlaba Ndezini. That's our agenda.
No children program, umzabalazo wethu support, noma ngabe yini engisakuyenza, we will always be fully behind you. Amandla!
Thank you very much for the powerful messages internally from Baba Reverend Ndlanzi. Ziningi statement abangisho ukuthi baningi abasupportayo. Usesishilo ngelesesiqhamuka kwi-KwaZulu-Natal Council of Churches, amabandla ahlangene KwaZulu-Natal. So akhiphe i-statement sokusupporta nokuzwelana nathi amabandla onke akhona KwaZulu-Natal. Ungagcini lapho. We have 8 volunteers yabantu besimame. Can you just volunteer yourself and just come forward? But I need 8. 1, 2, 3, 4.